Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the College of Design, Construction and Planning to this ceremony to recognize our new inductees into the Construction Hall of Fame. I'm Chime Anumba, Dean of the College of Design, Construction and Planning. First of all, I'd like to thank President Fox for allowing us to go ahead with this in-person ceremony in these unprecedented times. We do want you to feel very welcome. We know that a number of the friends and families of the inductees are watching through the live streaming. So also a number of the members of the Board of Trustees, and we'd like to acknowledge you as well. Given the unusual times, if you do not get the warm handshake or the hug that we usually give on this campus, please know that it's because we care more about you in these unusual times. Also, behind each of these masks, I can assure you there's a very warm smile. So welcome. I'd also like to thank the anonymous donors that contributed to the building of the new wall and to the improvement of this plaza. They have made a difference to this ceremony. I'd also at this point want to mention something that is probably not as obvious to a lot of people, but our inductees this year are unique. And one of the areas in which they are unique is the fact that they have contributed in more than one area. Board Chair Maury Hosseini has made tremendous contributions both to the construction industry and to education in the state of Florida. Ron and Jon Antevy have made contributions to the construction industry as well as to the software industry across the country. So we are very pleased to be able to invite you all back to be honored in this way. So welcome. At this point, I'd like to invite Dr. Robert Cox, the director of the Rinker School of Construction Management, to say a few words.
Thank you, Dean Anumba. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming today. It's a beautiful day. I'm Robert Cox, and it's my honor to serve as the director of the Rinker School. As a returning member of the University of Florida's Rinker School, after 14 years at a peer location, I can't think of a more memorable event than these Hall of Fame ceremonies as we honored exceptional people whose impact was paramount on the construction industry. While we're gathered here today to honor our newest inductees, please allow me a moment to acknowledge current Hall of Fame members in attendance. Trustee David Brandon, he was inducted in 2016. He's president of Brandon Construction, and his wife, Dana. Dr. Dan Whiteman, inducted in 1984. He's the vice chairman of Coastal Construction and a three-time UF graduate from Rinker and DCP. Bob Engel, inductee from 2012, emeritus member of the Rinker School Industry Advisory Board and the nucleus for the establishment of the Tampa BCN Gator Club. Steve Palmer, 2009 inductee, an emeritus member of the Rinker School Industry Advisory Board and the director of Stiles Corporation, and he serves as our Hall of Fame liaison, who you'll hear from in a few minutes. Another attendee that we need to recognize is the president of the Rinker School Industry Advisory Board. That's Mike Santarone. He's the CEO of Stellar Construction and a 1983 graduate of the Rinker School. So a little bit of history. Beginning in 1935, there are numerous highlights over the 85 years of excellence at the Rinker School. The Rinker School, as you know, are all best known for the excellence in undergraduate education, a strong industry advisory board, faculty who are experienced construction professionals, among the highest job placement and starting salaries on campus, more than $32 million in endowments, and highly sought after graduate degrees. We are recognized leaders in sustainability, artificial intelligence, technology applications, housing research, and resilience through impactful research. Today, the Rinker School has more than 8,000 alumni, and you'll notice that there are only a few names on these walls. The Emmy Rinker Senior School of Construction Management established the Construction Hall of Fame in 1980 to recognize the accomplishments of those distinguished leaders who have made a difference in our industry, the community, and the University of Florida through their careers in construction. The Construction Hall of Fame is the highest honor the Emmy Rinker Senior School of Construction Management can bestow. Again, let me welcome each of you that are here and online today. Thank you all for being here today, and I ask Steve Palmer, Director of Stiles Corporation, Emeritus Member of the Advisory Board, who serves as our Hall of Fame liaison, to welcome our inductees.
Thank you, Director Cox. Can you all hear me okay? As Dr. Cox stated, the Construction Hall of Fame is the highest honor that the Emmy Rinker School of Construction can bestow. Dr. Brisbane Brown, over there on the plaque, known affectionately as Briz Brown, was considered by many to be the heart and soul of the School of Building Construction for several decades, and he personally shepherded the Hall of Fame induction process to ensure that it was only the finest in both achievement and character who'd be given such an honor. After Briz's passing several years ago, and at the request of the school, I accepted the responsibility to carry on this special tradition that Briz had established. So I consider it a privilege to carry on that responsibility and an honor today to introduce our most recent inductees, Jon and Ron Antevy and Chairman Maury Hosseini. Today, Jon, Ron, and Mori join the ranks of a select few who are some of the best that have ever graduated from the Rinker School, best that have ever taught here, and best leaders who have ever advanced this program, this school we love and believe to be the finest in the entire country. What makes this honor even more special is that although it's bestowed by the Rinker School, the inductees are nominated by the Hall of Fame members themselves and require a unanimous vote of the selection committee, and that is made up of all the Hall of Fame members and the director of the school. So it's an honor bestowed by their peers, and not just any peers, but the members of the Hall of Fame themselves who've gone before them. Although they're not all with us, the Hall of Fame includes individuals like Herman Block, who successfully fought for the establishment of the Rinker School, Doc Rinker, for whom the school is named, Charles Perry, who's a legendary builder here in Gainesville, Jim Pugh is a legendary developer for whom Pugh Hall is named, David Brandon of Brandon Construction, who currently serves on the Board of Trustees, and many other highly successful Florida Gators and exceptional industry friends of the school. So I consider it a privilege now to introduce to you our members, our newest members of the Rinker School Hall of Fame. Our first inductees this morning are Jon and Ron Antevy. Jon and Ron are brothers. They're both UF graduates. They teamed up to build a powerhouse company called eBuilder, and it was based on Jon Antevy's Rinker School master's thesis. The combination of their talent and perseverance, leveraging innovative new concepts at the time that the internet was taking off, resulted in a highly successful company. Their technology leadership and construction industry focus have now helped thousands of global companies, government agencies, along with healthcare and educational institutions to manage billions of dollars in capital programs with solutions to improve the plan, build, and operate life cycle. Jon and Ron have also teamed up, providing expertise and support to the University of Florida through the College of Design, Construction, and Planning, the College of Engineering, and the Emmy Rinker School of Construction Management. Now, the journey to the Rinker School is often inspired by some kind of life's experiences and exposure to the construction industry that we all love. Jon and Ron's grandfather, Yonah Levy, was a successful apartment builder in Israel before emigrating to the United States with his daughter and two sons. He was building apartments in South Florida when Jon and Ron were growing up. They both worked several years, many hard hours for their grandfather, and they garnered a love and appreciation for the industry's opportunities and challenges, and along the way, grew even closer as brothers. And I learned they even bought their first house together. And of course, they both went to the same university. Ron graduated from Florida in civil engineering, and Jon received his master's in Rinker School in construction after his undergraduate degree from Florida School of Architecture. Now, I believe one of the greatest things about the construction industry is the network of relationships that you develop is really vast. You know, the sheer number of business owners, clients, subcontractors, vendors, government officials, higher education leaders, the people that you get to know is more than any other industry that I'm aware of. Because of that, our paths cross regularly. Lots of us all know each other quite a bit, and therefore your reputation and your relationships are absolutely paramount, and it often becomes a very small world. Now, on a personal small world comment, it's a story. I worked with a wonderful young woman who was a young lady who headed up marketing for Stiles Construction with me. Well, she got married, and when her first child, Orly, was well on her way to arriving, she transitioned with our full blessing to be a full-time mom after helping to find a suitable replacement, which wasn't easy because she was wonderful. Well, the young man she married was Jon Antevy, and her name was Melanie. And Melanie and Orly Antevy are here with us today. Melanie, it's great to see you again. Orly, pleasure to finally meet you. Another small word story where there was a very bright young professor that sat on the thesis committee for John's master's thesis. He was one of our best and brightest, and unfortunately at the time we felt he was recruited away by another university to head up their construction program. Well, this year, with the encouragement of some of our Hall of Fame members, support of the school, support of the selection committee, and support of the dean and the director, we got him back. His name was Dr. Robert Cox, and he's now Director Robert Cox of the School of Building Construction. Welcome back. Jon and Ron are an inseparable team. They're both highly regarded and recognized in the industry. Together, they built a highly successful company from scratch, a company whose genesis began during college at the Rinker School. And therefore, they're being inducted. Excuse me one second. I take that back. I apologize. I lost my place. Jon and Ron are an inseparable team. They're both highly regarded and recognized in the industry. Together, they built a highly successful company from scratch, a company whose genesis began during college here at the Rinker School. They're therefore being inducted, like brothers Tom and Harley Miller before them, to be honored together at the highest level that the Rinker School can bestow, as member of the Rinker School's Construction Hall of Fame. So please join me in congratulating Jon and Ron Antevy on their induction into the Hall of Fame.
Good morning. President Fox, Provost Glover, Dean Onumba, Director Cox, Construction Hall of Fame members, fellow inductees Ron and Maury Hosseini. Have a few minutes only, but I'd like to share a few stories about those individuals specifically associated with the university who contributed to our success. As you may know, I graduated with a bachelor's from design from the School of Architecture. And during that time, I had the privilege to work with Dr. Schwartz at the College of Education, who I presume is in California today, but listening online. Dr. Schwartz was a professor and the public information officer for Gainesville Fire Rescue. And that's initially how we met. About 1,400 feet away is Norman Hall, where I would walk all the time between this location. And after I took his class, Exceptional People, he asked that I work with him as a teaching assistant. It was during that time as a teaching assistant where he was selected to be the nominee for a sabbatical to convert all of his lectures from black and white acetates with the light board to PowerPoint. And that's what allowed me to get access to what I used to call the candy store of all the technology and computers run by Roy Boldock, a gentleman at the university at the time. And that's really what got me on my journey to know about the internet and technology. So that when I took on the master's in construction management, my passion for construction and technology is what drove my thesis topic. It was a little over 25 years ago when I dropped off my master's thesis to my professors, who at the time were located just across in Fine Arts Building C. In fact, I still have my copy, and I wanted to read some of the acknowledgments that I wrote 25 years ago in my thesis that I was able to copy. Dr. Coble, and I quote, Dr. Coble brought with him an enormous amount of guidance and enthusiasm. His daily critiques of my work helped to define a path that allowed all of the avenues of my research to merge towards a common goal, end quote. I'll never forget his insistence that I pass on the $55,000 a year job offer from DCC Constructors in Altamont Springs, bought by Clark, so that I could start my company. He would repeat it often. You are 6 months ahead of everybody else, and you can't afford to lose that edge. It's extremely fulfilling to have Dr. Coble's son, Brent, and his grandson, Caleb, here today with us today so they could hear firsthand how impactful their father and grandfather were to my career. Thank you. Dr. Issa, hello online, Dr. Issa, and I quote, has been an enormous help in dealing with the technical questions my research brought about. I thank him for his knowledge about computers and his willingness to work with me on all technical programs I faced throughout my research, end quote. If you want to meet a man who was and is always ready to help lend a helping hand, you need look no further than Dr. Issa. Again, from my acknowledgments in my thesis, quote, Dr. Kibbert has been an inspiration to my research. His clear and concise thought process helped me many times when deciding on a direction to travel. With very few words, Dr. Kibbert was always able to answer all of my questions, end quote. I was active in the fire department through Dr. Schwartz, and while at the university, so needless to say, I looked up to the fire suppression research that Dr. Kibbert had led during the time, and his involvement with Tyndall Air Force Base, provided that paramilitary structure that the fire department also provided. That really helped me in the leadership as eBuilder was started. The final acknowledgement from my thesis from 25 years ago, and I quote, special thanks to Dr. Cox, who never stopped caring. His help in my statistical analysis went over and above his expected role in my research, end quote. I think it was Theodore Roosevelt who said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Robert, thanks for never caring never stop caring about me while I was developing a path forward, and congratulations on your new role as director. While I had this idea of a construction project management system, I knew nothing about software development. Thankfully, James Kaza, another Gator, knew a lot about that. If it wasn't for him, plain and simple, our software product would not have materialized, and I can assure you, we would not be here today. Even when we couldn't make payroll, James persevered and kept a positive attitude. James was the first person hired at eBuilder, and as of last year, retired to enjoy his retirement in Gainesville, Florida. James, love you. Thank you. My grandfather was a contractor, as you heard, and together with my mom and dad developed apartment buildings and warehouses. It's what sparked my initial interest in the construction industry. Mom, your unwavering emotional and financial support helped us get through some very tough times during the early years at eBuilder. Just like in construction, the key element in a strong building is a well-built foundation. Mom, there's no doubt that your efforts impacted our lives, along with the thousands of others who benefited from our mission at eBuilder. Love you. Thank you. Almost done here. I remember calling my brother Ron and telling him what Dr. Coble had told me about needing to start my company so I wouldn't lose my edge. I also asked Ron, what should I do? His response, number one, engineer, so he counted things down very succinctly, right? Number one, and I always was able to understand it, you have no money, so you can't lose that. Number two, you have a beat-up Honda that's paid for. 3, you have no wife or family, so worst case, if it doesn't work out, you could always move back in with mom and dad and take that job at DCC Constructors. I'm like, good, it makes a lot of sense. Not only did he encourage me to start eBuilder, he also joined eBuilder when I was $50,000 in debt and struggling to make it work. Most fulfilling was our ability to reduce the cost of construction projects up to 4%, thereby freeing up additional funds for other life-saving projects. Probably the most key story that always touches our heart, Banner Healthcare on the west coast of the United States was doing a $1.2 billion construction program, and after they turned our software on, they were able to figure out that across all those projects across 7 states, they were able to scrape $70 million from that $1.2 billion and fund a cancer center that was built 4 years ahead of time. And that in turn helped save people, presumably, that were able to attend that new advanced facility. As many of you know, building a company is hard work. So again, Ron, thank you for being such an amazing brother and partner. As many of you know, building a company is hard work. There are many setbacks along the way, and lots of time is spent away from family. The encouragement and support I received from my wife, Melanie, along the way was second to none. Melanie, even during the toughest times, you never wavered. You have been an amazing mother to our 3 beautiful daughters. You helped us make great decisions along the way, all while playing a great defense when we needed it most. You're the best partner I could have ever hoped for, and I love you very much. So, to my daughters, Orly, who's here, and Hazel and Lital, my brother Paul, who's here with us, Peter, who's remote, and all those, Dan Whiteman, who, again, I was such in awe when he was getting his PhD, being able to see and get involved in his projects that he was doing with Coastal, just a certain inspiration that continues to be, and we stayed in touch until this time, so I'm happy that he's here as well. So with that, I'd like to thank you again for this wonderful honor, and I'd like to invite my brother up.
I'll try to make mine a little shorter for you guys. I'm just kidding. Thanks, John. So, good morning, everyone. I also really want to start off by acknowledging some of the folks that are here. President Fox, thank you for being here. Dean Anumba, thank you for having us. Director Cox, it's so great to see you, and for you to be here means a lot. Fellow inductees, John, Mori, the Board of Trustees that's online, many of you that are online watching, just really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. So I graduated in 1991 with a degree in civil engineering from here at UF, from the College of Engineering. Although I didn't attend the College of Building Construction, now the College of Design, Construction, and Planning, I've had construction in my blood since I was a little kid. I always had a love and a passion for this industry. As John mentioned, and as you mentioned as well, Steve, that you guys heard, our grandfather was a contractor. He was a developer. My uncle was in construction. My mom and dad got involved in development. So as kids, John and I would dream together, and we have 3 brothers, but John and I would talk about, hey, one day, we want to be in the construction industry. We want to get involved in this thing, and maybe we'll have our own construction company. And so that began the dream for us. And by the way, as John mentioned, I'm so proud, Mom, that you could be here today to see us being recognized. It's unfortunate that my dad passed away earlier this year. I wish he could be here, and I know he would be so proud of us if he were here today. So as I stand here almost 35 years, hard to believe, but 35 years since I first arrived in Gainesville as a freshman, I drove over to Broward Hall, just across the way. I am really overwhelmed with gratitude, and I feel so blessed. First of all, thanks to John as you've heard a few times, but it was John's master's thesis that would go on to start our business. That was the seed that started the whole thing. And one of the greatest blessings in my life is to have the opportunity to work closely with John every single day, to work with family. It's an amazing thing. For more than 20 years, we traveled together, we sold deals together, we struggled together, we celebrated together, and we've literally shared thousands of meals together. COVID has really messed up our lunch routine, by the way, I'd like to say. But there's nothing better, really. There's nothing better than being able to work together with my brother every day and to build something. And so to receive this great honor with my brother makes it doubly special, and I really appreciate that. Second, you know, the opportunity to attend this amazing university has given me so much to be thankful for. My mom and dad, my family in general, they went to the School of Hard Knocks. They learned from experience. I was the first person to go to college and get a bachelor's degree. They pushed to send me and my three brothers here. It was a big struggle for them to do that, and you know, but they did it. And I benefited so much from my time here. I learned things that benefit me to this day in the way I think. I made lifelong friends. I explored my passions for business. And I was given really several of my first great career opportunities were sparked here at UF. And then 22 years ago, our company, eBuilder, brought me back here to Gainesville. We were actually running our business here in Gainesville in a small office on the corner of 43rd Street and 39th Avenue. So I spent about 2 years back here in Gainesville, which was great. And I got to work with people like James that John mentioned, you know, and we worked really hard back in those days, but we also had a lot of fun, you know. And seeing you here, James, in Gainesville, it brings back a lot of great memories, you know, fun stuff and the hard work. And perhaps the greatest benefit coming back here to Gainesville back there in '98 was that I met fellow Gator and Gainesville native Rachel Rothman. So we'd started dating. We moved to South Florida. We came back here and got married. Now we have 3 kids together, hopefully future Gators. And we just celebrated our 18-year anniversary. So it is a small world, and it's crazy how all these things connect up together. So Rachel, you know, also gives me a reason to come back here. She's being a native person from Gainesville. We have family here, so I'm here a few times a year, which is awesome. And just like John said about Melanie, I can say without a doubt that I wouldn't be standing here today, Rach, if it weren't for the love and support and our partnership that we have. So thank you. It's an honor, truly an honor, to be recognized by the university and the College of Design and Construction and Planning for what we've done. I'd like to think that the company we built and our amazing team of over 300 people today has already made and will go on to make a huge positive impact in the industry. John gave the great example of Banner Health. Now we're part of Trimble since we sold the company, and Trimble is a worldwide leader in construction technology, and I feel like this next phase we have the opportunity to make an even bigger impact. So I'm proud of our accomplishments, and I thank you for recognizing both of us. But more than anything, I'm truly thankful for the opportunity to attend and to continue to be a part of this great university. And go Gators.
Our second inductee this morning is Maury Hosseini. Maury is the chairman and CEO of ICI Homes, one of Florida's largest residential home builders and developers. He's also devoted to the mission of higher education and serves on the University of Florida Board of Trustees, where he's just been reelected enthusiastically and unanimously for an additional 2 years as its chairman. The extraordinary work that he's done for Florida during his tenure on the board includes increasing Florida's annual recurring appropriations revenues by $40 million this year. We expect that will be the foundation for UF to achieve top 5 status, build out an unparalleled enterprise in artificial intelligence, and enhance student access at the University of Florida for many years to come. He was instrumental also in securing $135 million towards the transformative data sciences and information technology building that all students will benefit from, as well as $80 million in much-needed funding for our great cancer center. In his preceding role as leader of the statewide Board of Governors, Chairman Hosseini was and continues to be instrumental in developing and implementing both the preeminence and performance funding models for the entire state university system. Those 2 programs have been tremendously impactful to our state's universities and today account for more than $100 million in Florida's annual recurring base appropriations. And as a result of his tireless work and these tremendous legislative accomplishments, Maury's led the University of Florida to a stature of national prominence, preeminence, and respect. And through his strategic and passionate leadership on the board, Florida has risen in the national rankings from 14 to 9 to 6, and we're well on our way to top 5. The University of Florida is now a national and global leader in academics, research, science, healthcare, engineering, construction, and much more. Perhaps more importantly, he always puts our students first. It was mentioned to me by one of our Hall of Fame members, the way he put it, he said, listen, Maury never forgets to remind us why we're all here, to invest in and support our students so that they may achieve all the successes they work so hard for. Now, Maury's worked with and collaborated with a number of key leaders in the Rinker School, including Mike Santarone, who was introduced earlier, the CEO of Stellar, who built his corporate headquarters. He's worked with a number of Gators within his company, and with his being a champion of the Rinker School and a supporter of the College of Design, Construction, and Planning, with his passion for both higher education and the construction industry, he's also made a significant difference by involving Rinker School leadership at the highest levels of governance of the University of Florida. Now, as Rinker Hall of Fame members go, Maury is an extraordinarily special case, as mentioned before. He's a self-made man who left an unsettled Iran in the late 1970s for England, where he earned his degree in aeronautical engineering before immigrating to the United States to continue his education. And while earning his MBA from Embry-Riddle, he began renovating condominiums in Daytona Beach, discovered his love for construction, and shortly thereafter founded ICI Homes. Living out the American dream of success derived from education and hard work, Maury and his wife raised 3 daughters and immersed their family in the North Florida community. 2 of his daughters came to UF, one to study law and the other real estate. Now, Maury gives a great deal of his time and treasure to numerous civic and charitable causes due to the combination of his achievements as a builder and all the many leadership roles he has on corporate and civic public boards. There's a list that's way too long to cover of all the roles he's had and all the awards he's received, but I wanted to mention just a few, one being chairman of the Board of Trustees for Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, former chairman of the Board of Governors for the State University System of Florida, and the current chairman of the board for the trustees for the University of Florida. He's also received numerous Builder of the Year awards. He's received Hall of Fame awards from the Home Builders Association, the University of Florida's Kelly Bergstrom Real Estate Center. He's been honored as Entrepreneur of the Year. He's had awards for distinguished service, outstanding philanthropy, outstanding community service, community leadership, humanitarian award, awards from Salvation Army, Habitat for Humanity, and also an honorary doctorate from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. ICI Homes now ranks in the top 5 independent builders in Florida and consistently ranks among the top 100 home builders in the country, currently building over 850 homes per year. And Maury's been an innovator in the business of home building in what is a rapidly changing and diverse market. And Maury speaks with passion about his family. He actually gives credit to his wife, Faroe, for the secret sauce behind their unique and special, innovative way that they do business. He also spoke about how he loves walking down the hall and hearing the voices of 2 of his daughters as they collaborate and laugh and deal with work. And he just spoke with great joy and pride of working with his family, as you know, Jon and Ron, you spoke of as well. And he spoke of the love and respect for his father, who was a successful businessman in Iran, and his mother, who he credits with being the true inspiration for his passion for higher education. You know, a brilliant friend of mine once told me, she said, "Steve, I believe it's our duty to be a good steward of the talents that we've been blessed with." And I believe that. And in Maury's case, he is every bit of that and more. He's an extraordinarily talented and gifted leader who shepherds his talent to make a meaningful difference. Give you a flavor of who he is if you don't know him. I thought I would share a few quotes by some of those folks who know him well. One was, "His success in the legislature is legendary. I never met a man who garners more respect from legislative leaders at the state and federal level than Mori. When Governor DeSantis was first elected, and he wanted to be well briefed on how the Florida education system worked, he called Mori. He's transformed the University of Florida and higher education across the state. And he has an unwavering belief in the importance of education for everyone. And in Maury's own words, our vision is about excellence in everything we do. Our goal is the best education for our students so that they can go on to help solve many of the problems our citizens face." I spoke earlier about the vast relationships and how much we cross paths, the consequential impact we can have on the lives of others. An example of Vince Burkhart is over on that wall from 1985. He was good friends with Steve O'Connell, J. Wayne Wrights, Marshall Kreiser, all who went on to become UF presidents, for whom the O'Connell Center, Wrights Union, and Kreiser Hall are named. Well, his friend Marshall Kreiser became the personal attorney for Doc Rinker. Marshall Kreiser became president after that. Doc Rinker wanted to make a major contribution to the university. Marshall thought of his friend Vince, and thus that gift was shepherded to the construction program, and thus the name, the M.E. Rinker School of Construction Management, came to be. I share that because I believe Maury, along the likes of some of those great leaders before him and some of those names I just mentioned, will go down in history as having a profound effect on this university and this school. It may well be more influential in the University of Florida and Rinker's future than any one member has yet had the opportunity to be. And we will be forever proud to have his name permanently on this wall, along with all the great members who have come before him. So congratulations, Chairman Hosseini, on your induction into the University of Florida's Rinker School of Construction Management's Hall of Fame. Yes, you can just pick it up.
Well, good morning again. Mr. President, Dean Chimmy, thank you so much. I see our provost, Joe Glover, is standing up there. I don't know when, every time I see him, I think he's up to no good. The good thing is today I have not seen his face, so I don't know if today he's up to no good. Now I can clearly see he's up to no good. So, and the reason for that is our provost is brilliant in many ways. But one of his best things is he comes up with ideas. Then he talks to me, and he make it, and I just love his ideas, and he makes it like it's my idea. Well, Mori, if it's your idea, then you need to go do the work. You need to go get us funding. You need to get it approved through the Board of Trustees, and on and on and on. And interesting enough, he's great at it because I buy into it every time. It's an honor and privilege, really, to be part of this incredible people on this wall. It really is. But I'd like to introduce my family to you first. And I have my wife, love of my life, here. I used to tell people how many years we've been married. And then she had smacked me a few times. She said, you know, that makes it we're really old. But to give you a hint, and also my older daughter, poor thing, she didn't come to University of Florida. I feel so bad for her. She ended up at Michigan and Harvard. And so I told her someday maybe she can come and get maybe her PhD here, and that would improve, you know, her degrees. I know her other two sisters every day tell her, but she's not a UF graduate. So I have my daughter Nellie sitting back there. Nellie, raise your hand. She has my first grandbaby, and she's getting ready for a second one. And I have Nina and Nellie, the twins, that Nina and Nika. And Nina went to UF with 2 degrees in finance and in management, real estate management. And Nika got her law degree at University of Florida. I also have my nephew Ali is here, and Pedram, Nika's friend. So I do not know. I have just a great family, and I do not know how I would have this great family without my wife. My wife is not only is incredibly involved with upbringing of our children, and when I was out working very late hours at night, I knew that our kids are in a great hand. And also my wife, also my partner, and she works at the company. Now, that's where the opinions diverge. She thinks she is the cheapest employee that the company have, and I think she's the most expensive employee that the company have. So that's the difference in opinion. I also want to thank David Brandon, my partner on the board of trustees. David, thank you for everything you do. You know, we just changed our committees, and the committee that I was chairing, the facility, which I love and very involved. But I knew, as the chair of the board, I need to turn over the facility to someone can do a better job than I did. And David was the one, you know, without hesitation came to my mind. And he's going to be running our facility committee, and more than ever, he's going to move with our projects and get us started and get moving and build as much as we can. And of course, we have Mike Santron, my friend Mike Santron, built my corporate office. Believe it or not, after 15 years, the building is still there. And also Marty Farentino, my friend Marty, thank you for coming here. We have an incredible leader in our president. He lead this university, and our board of trustees. I always say it. You know, we can come up with all the ideas. We can come up with everything we want to come up. Somebody needs to execute. And our president is that one. We're so blessed to have President Fox leading our university. And trust me, President Fox leads this university. I could never say anything bad about President Fox with my family, because they will defend him no matter what I say. They just love him. And that's because of his humility. I remember when I interviewed Dr. Fox, when I was chairman of board of trustees, I had such anxiety that when I was going to meet Dr. Fox, and if I didn't feel that he was the right person for University of Florida, how am I going to tell all those people who worked so hard to have from University of Florida to put Dr. Fox forward, that we're not going to go forward, you know, with the recommendation? Well, I met him, and that was it. I was ready to go because Dr. Fox, not, and that was my biggest thing, was about getting University of Florida to top 10. Getting to University of Florida to top 10. I'm going to talk about University of Florida in a minute. And he said, and I have said this every time, that he says top 10, I'm going to take University of Florida to top 5. That was it. That was good enough for me. And he has done everything he can to get University of Florida where we are today. There's no doubt in my mind, and between the partnership of our president and our provost, they will get us to top 5. So I want to say a few things about myself and then get into University of Florida, and I will connect them together. I remember on a Thursday or Friday, I got a call from the guy that did our concrete work and said, we did the forming and all the plumbers did their work. We need concrete. Comes Monday. I said, okay, I'll take care of it. I said, well, where do you get concrete? Rinker. I said, I'll take care of it. So I called Rinker, and this lady answered the phone, and she was in a hurry. I said, I need concrete. When do you need it? I said, Monday. Okay, what lot, what subdivision, what address? Give him that. Said, be there Monday. That was it. Hung up the phone, called the guy. I said, be there Monday. Came Monday, there was no concrete on the site. So I get a call, there's no concrete here. And I said, what do you mean there's no concrete? They told me it'd be here Monday. So I tried to call him, and phone was busy. So I finally decided to go to Rinker, and I was so upset. So I got there, and in a way that, like, I know Rinker. I didn't know Rinker was a major company. I thought it was a little company, in South Daytona that, deliver concrete. So I said, I'm here to see Mr. Rinker. Like, I already have an appointment with. And this lady looked at me, and he says, son, Mr. Rinker probably have never been here. And I said, oh. I said, who's in charge here? She said, everybody's in charge here. I said, well, I ordered concrete, and it didn't get delivered. So she got another lady come in, and she looked at me, and I said, I ordered concrete. She went and checked it out and came back. He says, I know one of my coworkers talked to you. So when we hung up the phone and we went to check your account, there was no account, and there was no credit application, and so we didn't deliver. And I said, well, we could have called me. He said, we didn't have your number. So anyway, so I met, and I said, well, I need concrete. I need, they said, well, you have to fill up an application. We need to check you out. I said, I just opened my company. So, oh, God, so I end up getting a cashier's check. And have him deliver concrete to me. Fast forward a few years, Rinker delivered because I built the development that I put all concrete road. I got such a great deal at $27 a yard that we pulled the whole road, and it was the largest delivery of concrete that day for the whole Rinker company. Fast forward, we got during the downturn of the RTC Resolution Trust Corporation, and I was, so you go, and they were ready to take over projects, or you pay them. So I went, the meeting in Orlando, I sat with 3 other builders, and they will take us in one by one to a room and talk to us and try to get us to pay them off or take over our property. It was just wild, wild west. So I was getting ready to be the nicest guy in the world and beg him for extension. So I sat there, and the guys ahead of me went in one after another one and another one. None of them got anything. And I remember all the gentlemen came out, and he says, this is my last development, and these guys are going to bankrupt me. So I decided to change my tactics, because tactics of being nice didn't work. And so my turn came in. I went on the other side of the room. They were all sitting, three of them, the other side in the conference room. And as soon as the guy started asking, when are you going to pay us off, I started at least no less than 5 profanity that I could come up to my mind in them, that how much is their fault that this happened. You know, and they're like, they couldn't believe that this guy is sitting there, you know, and he's taking us to task. Well, bottom line, when I left there, I got a 6 months extension. And with that 6 months extension, I was able to manage and change. And really, I never forget, you know, how you take advantage of adversity, and this will come up again, can help you. I used to go to Atlanta. That's where the headquarters Southeast for RTC was. I would go on one floor, and I would tell those people that I have no money, sell my loans, and get rid of it because I don't have any money. No kidding. I would go 2 floors up, and I would tell these people, I'm here to buy loans. Do you have anything I can buy? And I was always worried if these guys go to lunch together and say, they just talk this guy with the accent. So, but it worked. It worked, and we came ahead. And I think, if you ask me, one of the reasons for my success has been taking advantage of adversity. Last but not least, in 2008, as you all know, we went through a downturn of real estate. And I honestly thought that, and I say this all the time, that I thought every night for a few years, I went to bed every night, and I thought there is a gun in my head, and one of these days is going to go off. One of these days, you know, one of these banks are going to call it, and then the rest of the banks are going to follow. Well, we managed to go through that and not only, you know, take care of it, but also succeed at that. So today, we are also in a position of adversity with this pandemic. This is where we are today. Sometimes I feel sorry for myself. You see, adversity. Sometimes I feel sorry for myself because I'm 65 years old and I said, you know, I don't need a pandemic now in my age. My runway is short. But then, that's life. You never know, right? Do you rather have a COVID or have a cancer? You decide. That's how life is. So we are going through it just fine. And that brings me to University of Florida. The adversity we deal today. When I was on the Board of Governors, when I started, within a year, I knew we have a jewel in University of Florida. Really did. It was a University of Florida was so much different than anyone else. Not that anything wrong with the rest of our universities. These are all our children. These are all of our universities, and they bring huge to the table. But there is something with University of Florida, what University of Florida covers, and I have studied University of Florida because that's how we created performance funding and preeminence. We even, at one point, we only had performance preeminence. Never forget that day. I won't mention names. Preeminence was set for only University of Florida, which I was promptly invited to a legislator's office. And the guy said, you know how much I love you. I know you for 25 years. You're my friend. But this preeminence bill will never see the light of it in the Senate if it doesn't have these other universities, name mentioning no name, included. So to have 2. So, and I immediately knew where I stood because I've been involved with politics, you know. And I said, absolutely, you know, I will add this other university to it. So we have at that time 2 universities into preeminence. He says, one other change you need to make, you need to take the flagship name out of University of Florida, and I said, I'll do it. Let us get the funding. And which we the first year that we did the bill, it failed. And then we got it the second year, and thus we had preeminence for University of Florida, which has been a huge help in getting University of Florida forward. Why is it University of Florida so special? Just look at all the people graduate from Rinker School of Construction. Look at it. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of people graduate from this school that helping the economy of Florida. The Rinker School is no different than our law school. Rinker School is no different than U of Health. Rinker School is no different than IFAS. Rinker School is no different to many of our medical schools. And I can keep on going in every one of our schools we have, that what they bring to the table to the state of Florida. You see, time and time and time, business companies from out of state don't come to Florida. This has been proven to our legislator, especially to our governors, previous governor and current governor. Because when they go and meet businesses and they say, you don't have high-skilled workers, we can't do research. Why? Because they don't know there is a University of Florida. See, one thing we have issue with, which the provost is working on, is reputation. So our job is at University of Florida to take the University of Florida to top 5 and make sure we get our reputation. Make sure we get our reputation. University of Florida is not about University of Florida. It's not about you, the alums, and it's not about the people that graduate from University of Florida. It's about the state of Florida. What University of Florida does for a state of Florida. We're in the 67 counties. If one of my golf courses have an issue with the grass that we have in a fairway, guess what? Where we go? To IFAS. So I always try to sell this to the legislator, and that is that University of Florida, what it brings to the table, what it does for our state, it should be dealt with. That means we got to get our fundings. And we've been good to get our fundings. So far, we have done really good. But this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning for University of Florida. This is just a start. Being a top 5 university, that's just a number. But with the number, there will be a culture of being a top 5 university in the country. A culture that brings an incredible help to our state. And once and for all, we're just not here for people to come as visitors or retire. Companies can come to this state and have their companies and use University of Florida for their research and high-skilled workers. We want to be like California. I always believe California would go bankrupt if it wasn't for the high-tech corridor that is there. GE, the guy Jeff Emmett, we were in the same member of the same club. I remember when they moved from New York to Boston, and I saw Jeff. I said, I don't get it, Jeff. Why don't you come to Florida? You went from cold weather to cold weather. You went from high tax to high tax. Why did you do that? He looked at me. He says, let me tell you what we did. I'll give you 3 reasons. I said, okay, what is it? He said, talent, talent, and talent. Because have those schools in Boston that GE can hire. So I'm here to tell you, there's a great future for University of Florida. With the help of our president, our provost, and our deans, and every one of our faculties, we will be a top 5 university, and we will be a place for companies that want to move to Florida to be a great place to do the research and to hire our high-skilled workers. And that is the goal of our university, is the goal of our president, is the goal of our dean and our provost, and the dean and our deans and all of our professors. And of course, the most important thing for us is our students, our children, is when they finish the University of Florida, that all of them are able to get a job in the field they study. So I want to thank you. I really appreciate this. This is really important to me. It means a lot. And I can tell you that today is a great day for University of Florida. I think we're going to beat Georgia today. I was with our governor the other day, and I said to him, you know, we're going to do this. And on the 19th, by the way, we want to go to Atlanta for SEC championship. And he says, well, you know, that means you have to beat Georgia. And I looked at him. I said, what do you mean? We are going to beat Georgia. He says, when you talk to me about UF, about everything else, is that how you deal? How you tell me you're going to do things? You don't even know what's going to happen? I said, yeah, I believe in it, Governor. I believe in it. And I believe in University of Florida. Thank you.
Congratulations again to our new inductees into the Hall of Fame. A couple of things. Want to acknowledge and appreciate the President for allowing us to have this event here in person. It is very special, but as important, if not more important, to the staff and everybody else for making sure that this was an incredibly safe and prepared circumstance for us to be able to do this. Also want to acknowledge our alumni, because through this whole COVID pandemic, they've been marching forward full force. And today's companies, many of the ones in Florida are run by University of Florida graduates. I mean, they're experts and relentless about safety. They were before COVID even hit, and so it really was a natural step for them to just go ahead and crank up their safety programs to implement the new protocols to keep people safe out there. At the same time, keeping this vital industry functioning that employs thousands of companies and God knows how many individuals. So thanks to all of our alumni out there for keeping things safe. You know, I've learned personally, you'll never truly know the pay it forward impact or consequential impact of your actions. I know I'm personally the beneficiary, pay it forward actions of several Hall of Fame members, Lois Johnson, Herman Block, Brisbane Brown, just to name a few. And I'm sure that the work of our new Hall of Fame members and what they've done and will do in the future will pay it forward to a truly immeasurable degree. So on behalf of those future students and all those who will benefit from what those students will learn here, thank you. And I've been personally affiliated with this school since 1974, when Lois Johnson convinced me to come here as a freshman out of New York. And I've closely watched the growth and development of this school, and I firmly believe that today we are in the best position that we have ever been as a school and as a college. And with the leadership of Dean Anumba, Dr. Robert Cox, the support of our Hall of Fame legacy members who've come before, the support of our great leaders we've inducted here today, and our leadership at the top of this university, that the Rinker School is truly blessed with an extremely bright future. So congratulations again to our new members of the Hall of Fame. Stay safe, stay strong, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for coming.